and welcome to episode 69 of This Week in Germany. We'll be bringing the world to Germany and Germany to the world with news for the week beginning the 27th of April 2015. My name's Daniel.
And my name's Rob. Each week we feature stories from the news, society, and culture in the English language. If you want to find out more, including ways to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, head over to the website thisweekingermany.de.
So, Rob, we are on episode number 69. That's pretty good. I feel great. I feel ready for another episode. Did you enjoy National Beer Day on, was it the 23rd?
It was on the 23rd, yes. And do you know why it's National Beer Day?
No.
That is because that was that day on 1516, the year 1516, that the German beer purity laws came into force.
Oh, that's really exciting.
It's German National Beer Day to celebrate German beer.
I may have just had beer on that day anyway without realizing it was National Beer Day. I think no one knew. At least I didn't find out about it until afterwards. So
Me either, but I'm sure I probably had a German beer that day.
Yeah, I guess so. So what do we have coming up on today's episode?
Well, I am excited about Destination Germany, which we're going to the Snow Dome. So even though warm weather's coming up, you can still do winter sports.
Yes, chill out in the hot weather. Also, we have an interesting German of the week this week.
Yes, I heard that the chairman of VW resigned.
Yes, Ferdinand Piëch, who basically he's the chairman of Volkswagen, which is Germany's huge car company. And there was a power struggle between him and the chief executive, Martin Winterkorn. And it's really crazy because Piëch is like the patriarch of the company. His family, the Piëch and the Porsche families own VW. So very, very interesting how this power struggle has ended up in him leaving. But more about that later in the program.
Yeah, our top story. Tell us about the top story.
Yes, our top story. We'd like to introduce you to Jonas Schönfelder. Hello, Jonas.
Hello. It's nice to be on the show. I did a report about the German language and what drives people to learn the German language.
You started off by asking them a question. Let's take a listen to that right now.
Herz allerliebst.
Knödel.
Begeistert.
Quasi. Krankenhaus.
Mutmaßen. Blumenwiese.
Eichhörnchen.
Sonnig.
Zipfel.
Hanebüchen.
Krankenwagen.
Ja, also ich finde das Wort schön. Sehr schön.
Do you remember a German word which sounds funny or nice?
Guten Tag and Dankeschön. That's it.
Those were people saying their favorite German words, which I catched up on the streets in Berlin.
German is your native language. What do you feel about your language? What are you aware of with German?
Yeah, German, it's so usual for me because it's my native language, as you said, so I don't think about it in my normal day life. But yeah, my mother actually is a teacher for German language. She teaches immigrants. Yeah, sometimes I talk to her about the people in her class, and what is interesting is that there's this prejudice that it's very hard to learn, but of course for me as a native speaker it's just usually and just easy.
Do you know about how many native speakers there are in Germany right now, or around the world?
Yeah, there are around 100 million native speakers around the world. Most of them are from Germany, and then followed by Austria, German-speaking Switzerland, and some other countries in Europe. Yeah, that's basically 100 million native speakers.
How about people learning it as a second language?
Yeah, there are different numbers. So the German Foreign Ministry says there are 16 million people who speak German as a second language. But there are other numbers, for example, from the European Commission. They say that about 55 million people in the EU speak German.
You went on the streets of Berlin, as we heard just there, to ask people their opinions and their feelings about learning German.
Yeah, that's correct. So I did the recordings in Berlin, and first I went to a playground where I met a young man called Elvis, and he is from Cameroon, and I asked him when he came to Germany and why.
Like 3 years ago, because I've got a family here. That's my little daughter that I'm here with.
Do you learn German? at the moment?
Yeah, I did learn German to write up to B2.
And where do you do it? Do it at the language school or something?
Yeah, I did it at a language school, like it's called ETV. Yeah, I did it there for almost 2 years.
And what's the main reason why you learn German? Is it to integrate in the German culture, or to find a job, or is it both?
Normally, being in Germany, you can't do without the language. So first, I had to integrate myself, and to get a job, you must know the language. So it was something that is necessary. So I had to do it.
What's your native language?
Like we've got, I'm from Africa, Cameroon precisely. We've got like more than 56 other like what we call mother languages, but we have like 2 main international languages, which are English and French. So I can speak both languages.
If you compare German to these languages, is it more difficult to learn German?
Well, honestly, if I want to be honest with you, after I started learning German and I got to like this B nouveau, it tends to really affect my other languages, especially French, because sometimes when I try to speak French, what comes out is German. So I tend to realize that German language is something really, really, really hard. That means it eats your score completely. Yeah, that's the honesty about German language. It's a nice language, and it's something really hard to go by.
I heard him in the interview mention B2 Niveau. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, that is an examination which is internationally recognized. So in German, that is called Zertifikat Deutsch für den Beruf, which means certificate in German for the professions. And it basically tests the German language skills for business purposes. And also this is often required by German universities. And you have to go to a language school to just learn these skills and to get to these tests.
If you want to have a job, some companies will require that you prove your language proficiency with this certificate. If you want to study in Germany, a lot of universities will require that you have learned German to a certain level and will also require this certificate proving your German proficiency.
The German language also has an interesting history. It's related to a lot of other European languages.
If you think of the Germanic languages, there's a number of them.
That's Georgia Held. She is the deputy director of the Goethe Institute in London.
To which English belongs as well, which is why German, English, Danish, and the Dutch language, they're all from the same origin. And they're obviously very similar in a way, which doesn't necessarily help for learning languages. But I'd say it dates back, you had Middle High German in the 17th century, and it evolved since then and became something which I think is very similar for all the modern Germanic languages.
The origin is quite interesting, and I didn't know that before I listened to the interview. But she also mentioned one reason to learn German, which is quite obvious, the job market. And when I went to the street, I talked to a tourist from Japan who could imagine learning German for business purposes. What's your name?
Takaya Kato.
And where are you from?
Japan, Tokyo.
Why are you here in Germany? Are you here for visiting someone?
No, sightseeing.
And are you here alone or with...
I'm traveling alone for a moment, yeah.
Nice. So you don't speak German, as you said, but what's your impression of the German language?
It's quite a difficult question. Yeah, I heard that it's quite similar to English. I think it's originally German. Some of the vocabulary in English is come from German, and but my first impression is like each word in German is quite long, and it's quite difficult. I think it's quite difficult to understand.
And there's this prejudice that the German language sounds harsh. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, it's quite a famous topic, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so, yeah. I think, because I know some German and German-Swiss people in my university days, and they were, very polite, and they are really hard workers. And then sometimes, compared to For example, I don't like to say that, like some Latin people, like French or Italy, they are more like a friendly and always laughing. But German people is always, focusing on their job and they're doing what they want to do. And that kind of comparison made some kind of understanding or an image of German, I think. That's my image.
And if you think about learning a language, would you like to learn German, or are there other languages you would like to learn before?
It's quite interesting. Yeah, it's quite interesting because I'm doing the business in automobile business, and there's so many competitors in Germany, and also there's so many business partners in Germany. So I think in the future maybe German language will be my one of the topic, one of the choice to learn, I think.
Many people that don't know or just learning German might perceive it as harsh or sounding harsh. Do people that know the language think it sounds harsh as well?
So from my perspective, it doesn't sound harsh at all because I'm just familiar with the language, and I can understand the sounds more precisely, I think. But I know this prejudice from American TV shows. And I also think that French, for example, is more melodic than German. But for me, it's still sounds great. But I spoke to Maddie from Scotland, who is doing an Erasmus semester in Germany, and I asked her what her first impression of the German language was.
Well, I thought it was quite harsh at the start, but it just depends kind of on the accent, I think. So I actually think it's quite a nice language.
And so you said you would like to learn it. What's your goal, or what's the reason?
Just, I don't know, it's just nice to be able to talk to someone when you're in Germany in their own language instead of having to talk in English the whole time.
But do you think maybe it can help you in your future job?
Probably not, because I'm not going to move to Germany. But I still want to learn some.
Maddie from Scotland there speaking. Rob, you're learning German. Why are you learning the German language?
Well, I live in Germany. I work in Germany. My beautiful wife is German, but I think the main reason that drive that I have for learning German is now that I have a daughter, then I think knowing the language will really be able to help her out as well, and that is why I have the drive now to speak German fluently.
We found out throughout this report that so many people want to learn German for so many different reasons.
Yeah, I learned from speaking to all these people, I learned that most of the time the first impression of the German language is not as good as the impression when they get to know it better. And also many people said that for them living in Germany, and it's important for them to learn German because they want to integrate and they want into the society and they want to get to know the culture. And so for them it's just necessary to learn German, because I think if you can live good in Germany without speaking German, but if you really want to get to know the country and the history, you just have to learn German.
Whether you are a refugee or you want to work here or study here, there are plenty of reasons to learn German.
The final word goes to Georgia Held of the Goethe Institute. She says there are many benefits to learning German, but it depends on the individual's needs.
Well, it's the whole thing about if you want to access a culture, you have to know something of the language. If you don't know any bit of the language, you don't really have access to another culture. I think that would be the driving element of it all. I'd say it depends on whether you want to, make your job chances any better. So if you want to improve on that level, there's certainly a lot to be said for learning German nowadays, with Germany being the trade powerhouse of Europe, so to speak. You could, if you're interested in the culture or in philosophy and music and in the arts, that would be another reason to learn the language, because you'd have direct access to all this.
And that was Georgia Held, Deputy Director of the Goethe Institute in London, rounding off our report about the German language. If you want to listen to the full interview with her, you can go to our website, thisweekingermany.de, and click on Twig Extra. Thank you very much to journalist Jonas Schönfelder for creating that report. You can find out more about him and all of his work on Twitter at Jonas Schön.
And now for this week's News in Brief. A poll was released this past Friday that said 50% of Germans were in favor of allowing more refugees into the country. 40% were opposed. Ties to political parties strongly correlated with the poll participants' views on immigration. Green Party voters were more in favor, and most of the AfD supporters were against. 2/3 thought that the government should use more funds to send rescue ships to the Mediterranean Sea. The same amount opposed setting up blockades to try and stop these ships from arriving. This comes just after the recent tragedy of a boat sinking in the Mediterranean where more than 700 migrants drowned. Many in the Bundestag, such as Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier, consider rescue operations necessary for Germany. Angela Merkel, Germany's Chancellor, said that the EU's first priority must be to save human lives. April 24th marked the 100 years since the killing of 1.5 million Armenians in the Ottoman Empire, modern-day Turkey. The Turkish government recognizes these mass killings but say they weren't genocide. Over 20 governments see the events of 1915 as genocide, as well as most Western historians. The Bundestag recently debated how Germany should acknowledge the killings of the Armenians. The draft of the statement referencing the events was agreed upon by both the CDU and the SPD. They will call the events genocide. Germany's opposition party was not happy with the outcome. Some think that they don't go far enough to recognize what actually happened in the Ottoman Empire during the First World War. Others, like Frank-Walter Steinmeier, think that this label could belittle the events of the Holocaust. This year will be the first time Germany has officially used the term genocide to reference the killings of the Armenians. And that's the news in brief. If you'd like a quick and simple way to keep up with the latest from Germany, sign up for our bi-weekly email newsletter, which you can find on our website, thisweekingermany.de.
That's right, Rob. So as you may have just heard, it's our bi-weekly email newsletter because we're doing it now once every 2 weeks just to concentrate all that information into one place because weekly email updates,
they're
tedious. For losers. Yeah, only losers do weekly email updates these days. Now we're going to do bi-weekly updates, which means every 2 weeks. So that means less inbox stuff for you, and it also means that we can pack lots of the best things from 2 weeks of episodes into one email.
I like it. I think it'll come out better this way.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So now it's time for Destination Germany.
Yes, right now is Destination Germany, where we're taking you on a journey somewhere in the country that is well worth a visit. Whether you're a tourist or a permanent resident, a foreigner or a German citizen, here we'll be covering the famous sites as well as those little-known corners of Deutschland.
I like the way you started that paragraph really excited and then you knew you couldn't sustain it as you went through. So you kind of tried to, but it just faltered by the end.
Oh.
Well, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Well, all that really matters is that we're going to show you that Germany is an interesting and exciting place to visit. As always, if you enjoy the destinations that we talk about each week, go to our website, thisweekingermany.de. We'll have photos to show you of each week's destination.
Yeah, this has been very popular on Facebook and Twitter, so a lot of people like the photos, and they're sharing it because of that, and I really like that because it means that we reach more people, and then they can come to the site, and you can actually read the Destination Germany on the website as well. So you can read through it, or you can listen to it, and you can look at the photos. Great combination. So if you love our Destination Germany, you have to visit the website. So last time we talked about Germany's one of Germany's most famous cities, Munich, its Stadtmuseum, which is the City Museum of Munich. So this place has information and exhibits from when this metropolis was just getting started as a little baby metropolis. I don't know what those would be called. A village. Oh, yes. A metropolette. And that's only one part of this museum as well. They have other great permanent exhibitions and have a rotating set of special exhibitions that draws crowds from all over the world. and also, as you can see on our website, some very creepy puppets as well.
I think that was my favorite part.
Yeah, you gotta love those creepy puppets. I don't know what part of the city history that was, but certainly it was very curious, very, very interesting. So, what do we have in line for us this week, Rob?
Well, this week we're going really far north to Lower Saxony. I always kind of feel weird saying we're going up to Lower Saxony. It's kind of like saying that we're going north to South Dakota for those that know U.S. states.
Yeah, so Lower Saxony is actually at the top and Saxony is actually lower down when you look at the map. So tell us where in Lower Saxony that we're going. It's a big place.
It's a town called Bispingen. It's not a huge place, but it does have some really pretty countryside and hills that you can climb, but that's not exactly what we're going to talk about today. Today, I've got something special planned for you.
Well, Rob, you know how much I'm really excited about next winter, now that winter's already over, and I just hate the summer, and I can't wait for winter to start again.
I don't believe you.
I wish there was somewhere that I could go. Okay, hear me out. I wish there was somewhere that I could go where I could experience winter all year round.
Well, I have just the place for you. If you go to Bispingen in Lower Saxony, then you can go to the Snow Dome, which is pretty much just what you said, winter all year round. Whether it's sunny and nice and spring and flowers are blooming everywhere, you can still throw a snowball.
So I think we talked about a place a while ago, which was like in an old aircraft hangar, which was like this tropical swimming pool paradise. It's kind of like a tropical, I don't know, biodome. I don't know what you call it, but the winter version of it.
That is exactly what it is. Think of it as a huge building that's filled with snow and snow activities. There is, of course, skiing, where you can go skiing, and no matter what kind of level you are, a beginner or an expert, there's hills for you there. There's also a downhill park for those that are snowboarding. They can show off their tricks. And something that I really thought was cool was an ice tower.
An ice tower? What's that?
It's like one of those...
Tower of ice, I assume.
It is a tower of ice, yes. It's like one of those rock climbing towers, except for it's made of ice. And so you strap in, and instead of climbing up a wall, then you climb up a solid wall of ice.
Ooh, that sounds pretty nice. Climbing a wall of ice, cool. It sounds like a pretty cool place. If you pardon the pun.
And if you can go there with your family and kids as well, because they have just a snow area where if you want to have a snowball fight or build a snow fort or something like that, there's just snow for you to play in. And right now, there's an artist there that is making ice sculptures of lots of different types of animals.
So anything kind of winter activity related, they have it there.
Yep, and while most come for the snow activities, there is also an outdoor area as well. So you can go skateboarding during the summer, and they also have slacklining.
What's slacklining?
Slacklining is, think of it as a huge rubber band that's between two trees or two posts, and it's like a tightrope, except for it's a slack rope. It's kind of bouncy, and it's a little bit thicker.
So it's like what they used to tie down pallets, these big straps. And then
pretty much,
yeah,
and you can walk
trees.
across them and bounce up and down on it. And if you're good, you might be able to jump, do some tricks on the slack line.
Oh, great! That sounds a bit dangerous. So, is this a kind of place which you can? Is it like Disneyland, where you can't visit it all in one afternoon, or is it this kind of place where you can go there anytime? It's like a swimming pool where you can just go there anytime you like, experience it, and leave, and then come back another time. What would you suggest?
You can. They do sell passes by the hour, and so if you just want to go skiing for an hour or two, then you could do that. But what's most popular are the day passes that I think will run you about 35 to 38 euros, somewhere around there, a day. But if you do want to stay for multiple days, say you want to go up there for a weekend, go skiing on Saturday, climb an ice tower on Sunday, then you can. They have a hotel that's right there that you can stay at, which is pretty nice.
Or you could just get over the fact that winter is over, enjoy the summer while it's here, and then when winter comes again, go to the Alps.
But that's what's pretty great about Germany is even if it's summer, you can do winter sports. If it's winter, you can do summer sports.
Oh, that sounds like a good way of putting it.
So if you want to check out more of what the snow dome looks like, go to our website, thisweekingermany.de, and check out some photos.
Next up, our German of the Week section, where we put the spotlight on a prominent person from this week's news, a German citizen, or even a foreigner who we deem an honorary German, who has had an effect, for better or worse, on German culture, society, or politics.
Our German of the Week this episode is automotive mogul Ferdinand Piëch. He shocked a few people this week when he announced his resignation from Volkswagen's supervisory board. He grew up loving cars as part of a dynasty in the automotive industry. His dad was a manager at VW, and his mother was from another big car business family, Porsche. He wrote his master's thesis on a Formula One engine in 1962, and then he worked for Porsche until the 70s. He then started as the manager of technological engineering at Audi. In 1993, he moved to Volkswagen and became the chairman of the board of management. Piëch is in the news this week due to a power struggle at the top of Volkswagen. He voiced criticism about the executive chief, Martin Winterkorn. The board disagreed and they decided to renew the CEO's contract. Dismayed by the outcome, Piëch decided to step down. We will just have to see what impact this has on Germany, as automobiles play a large role in the economy, over 200 billion euros. Piëch was instrumental throughout his career in helping build this industry.
And we are now at the end of episode number 69. I can feel the number 100 coming up very slowly but surely. What do you think?
We've been doing this for quite some time now, and I think it's getting better, like a fine wine. It's getting better with age, so each episode is just that much better than the last one.
Well, I hope so. And if you'd like to find out why we do this, why we make This Week in Germany, we give up hours of our free time every single week to make this program, and we love doing it. You can go to our website, thisweekingermany.de, and click on About Us to find out our mission statement. Basically, we make this program to help you understand Germany. Whether you're a foreigner living in the country, you're affected by the laws as well, so even if you don't understand German, you have a right to understand what's going on in the country. And if you're living outside of Germany, maybe you're learning German in school, and you're thinking, well, what is this country? Then you can find out about Germany through us as well. So we like to think that we provide a kind of a public service, and all the details are available on our website, thisweekingermany.de/about us. And you can also find other things on our website too, isn't that right, Rob?
You can find out where you can like us on all sorts of different social media. I want to point out, go to iTunes, because we would really, really love if you would rate us, 5-star rating, because we're so great, and give us a review. Tell us what you think, because we definitely read all of those, and we take them into consideration when building our show.
Yeah, that's right. All the links for those are on our website, thisweekingermany.de. This Week in Germany is produced by me, Daniel Winter. It is written and presented by myself and Rob Bishop. Thank you very much to Jonas Schönfelder for his report on the German language. It took a lot of on-location recording and late nights to make that happen, so please let us know what you think. Send your feedback to us via the Contact Us button on the website. You can also follow Jonas directly on Twitter at Jonas Schön. And Rob, you're not going to be here next week or the next few weeks, are you?
I'm not. Well, I'll be here in spirit, maybe a little bit on the show, but yes, I'm going to be in the United States. I'm taking a vacation.
So for the next 3 episodes, we're going to have a brand new co-host who's going to be with us for the next 3 weeks. His name is Felix, and we'd very much like to welcome him on board to This Week in Germany. And yeah, Rob, you'll be back late May, if I'm right.
Yes, I should get back in the country on the 18th, and I'll be right and ready to have a show done following week.
Well, have a wonderful time during your time off. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next Monday with more of This Week in Germany.